As we can see here, we are working on parts 1 and 2 today. And as always, whenever we start a new module, we have a part 0 assignment that's to do. This guy, let's see here, is all about, percent change. So we have already talked about the formulas necessary to solve those questions. This is a little bit more of a reminder than anything. So check out that assignment. And if you haven't done so already, go to the top of the module 3 section on Canvas and download the PDF. We're going to look at that together. And hopefully you got an email yesterday with the spreadsheet that we're going to be utilizing today. So let's pull those up.
Hello, Professor. I have a question about the exam.
Yeah, what about? We can talk about the exam afterwards. Let me run through this real quick.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so in this module, we are going to be looking at stock price data, and we're not doing anything too complicated. We're not doing like research where we're going to, figure out a strategy of how to invest our money. The primary thing that we're doing is figuring out if I invested a bunch of money, 20 years ago, what would the value of that be now? That's the main question that we're trying to answer, and figuring out how to set that up in Excel in an efficient way. And then we'll add a few little details to that as we move on. So on this first page is a few explanations of some of the data that we're going to look at in a second, but I'll go over that when we pull it up. And today, what we're working on part 1 is primarily these types of questions. You buy some shares one day, what's it cost? What percentage did it change by? That sort of thing. I don't really think there's anything too confusing in here until maybe question 3, when they give you an amount of money to spend in this case, instead of just saying, okay, you have purchased 2 of these things. Now they're saying you bought $5,000 worth of this stock. Well, the sort of extra step involved here is that you can only buy whole shares of stock, not fractional. So that means like if you have 20 bucks on you and a single share costs $8, well, they're not going to let you buy 2.5 shares, the amount of times 8 goes into that. You're only going to be able to afford 2. And so you need to be able to compute that 2 point whatever, and then round down to the actual whole number of shares that you can afford. And there is a way to do that using functions, but we'll just utilize it using arithmetic and rounding manually for now, unless you'd like me to show you. And then there's a couple weird percent change ones at the bottom, but they don't use anything new. They're just phrased in a slightly odd way. Okay, let's check out the spreadsheet and go from there. So today we are only working on this first tab, which says December 2014. So it's pretty easy to see all the data that we need to use to answer the question. You don't have to, scroll down a bunch of pages, which is nice. You're just looking up the value you need and using that in your computation. So what are these numbers? Well, these first 4 columns after the date are indicating various prices of a single share of, I believe, Amazon, yep, still Amazon, in this particular month. And the price of a single share varies throughout the day. The open is what it started at, high and low is, as you can imagine, the highest and lowest point throughout the day, and close is at the end of the day. And so one little tricky part in this module is when you're buying stock and they say, okay, go buy stock on December 1st. Well, how much did it cost? I mean, there's 4 different prices listed, and there's even more if we looked up, the variation throughout the day. Well, the question's always going to tell you, and almost always we're going to be using the close. And the question should say this. And if it doesn't, ask. It's probably a typo, but pretty much we're going to have questions like this. On December 1st, you buy 2 shares. And so each one of them is, $326. So 2 of them would cost twice as much. And then you're going to hold on to it till, let's say, the end of the month. And you're going to see what a single share is worth at the end of the month and compare those values. See if the value went up, see if the value went down, look at the percent change, that sort of thing. So mathematically, we've done this stuff before. It's all percent change formulas. Excel-wise, there really isn't any new functions to worry about. It's primarily just getting used to these numbers and maybe building some initial calculators for part 1. That is our goal for today. And then when we come back next time, we're going to go to this table tab, which has 5,000 rows. And so we're going to have to come up with a way that's more efficient than just scrolling down for like 30 pages. But we'll talk about that more when we come back next time.